Hi everyone. I just wanted to do a video about things that have been happening with me recently, all to do with my pain and what's been happening in my life. And this is all to do with my fibro and things like that. So it's all part of my journey. So recently I've been having some falls. Now, I put them like this because they're technically not falls, and I'll explain why. But they're called falls because you can't really describe them any other way. So in October I was on my bed. Now, I don't know if I fell asleep sitting up or if I went to sleep partly sitting up or what, but I can remember starting to fall forward a couple of times. Now, I'm sure we've all had those dreams where we can feel ourselves falling and we do what we can to stop it, and we stop it a few times, and then there's one time where we don't stop it and we're flailing around as fast as we can to try and grab something, and you can feel yourself knocking stuff over and you just can't stop yourself falling, and then eventually you just hit something hard. That's what it was like for me. So I hit my head on my drawers. Now, my bed sits here and my drawers are directly here, so they run parallel to my bed, and they're quite large drawers. They've got 3 drawers. It's not a tall boy, it's a low boy, but it's quite long, and I hit it with quite decent force, and I don't know if I knocked myself out. I can't tell. But I felt like it was a dream, that I had dreamt that I had fallen. So I sort of got myself up, checked that nothing was broken, there was no blood and guts and all that shit. There was none of that, so it was like, okay, back to bed, back to sleep. Now, I don't know what time it happened or anything like that. I just know it was the early hours of the morning. So when I woke up, I was already going into town because I was going to do my food shopping. I woke up and I just couldn't move my neck. I couldn't turn my head, I couldn't nod, I couldn't do anything. And that was when I realised that I actually had fallen. And I wasn't doing too well. So instead of going to do my shopping, I went to see the doctor. The nurse, luckily the nurses know me really well at my doctor's, and with the walk-ins what they do is the nurse calls you, she triages you, and then from there it's the worst gets seen first, then it's down from there. The nurse saw me and she sort of looked at me and the way I was walking and holding my head and everything, and she realised how much pain I was in and how I was feeling, and she stuck me in a wheelchair. Now, the doctor that was doing the walk-ins, him and I have a bit of history. He withheld pain medication from me when I needed it, and I had to go to my normal doctor to get it. So I put in a complaint about him. So him and I don't get on. Now, he looked at me in the wheelchair and said to me, surely you can get up and walk. And I looked at him and I said, she put me in here for a reason. So he wheeled me into his room, and he started feeling around my neck and stuff, and he immediately took me into the nurses' rooms and told me to lie on the bed, and then he put towels on each side of my head and called in the ambulance to take me to the hospital. I've got photos of me lying there. I've got tape across my head with the towels lying on each side of me. It was most amusing. So it took them a while to come and get me because I wasn't considered an emergency. They kept me in overnight to make sure I was okay. I had a concussion. Nothing was broken. So it was just keep overnight and that's it. I kind of knew nothing was broken because I've got bones that, as a doctor said to me, I bend, I don't break. So I've never broken a bone. I've done so many things to my body and I've never broken a bone. But I bend a lot. So I do things like ligament damage. So on my neck and my back, I did ligament damage down the back of my neck, all the way down through past my shoulder blades, down to the bottom of my shoulder blades. So that was all ligament damage, and I did muscle damage as well. So that really hurt. So I wasn't given any pain relief or anything. I wasn't given any meds or anything. I just had my normal Panadol. Oh, no, I was given some ibuprofen, that's right. So that's all I was given. About 2 weeks later, I went to my normal doctor, and she gave me some anti-inflammatories. So I took those for a little while. I started to feel a bit better, so I stopped taking them because anti-inflammatories and my tummy don't work well together. So after about 2 weeks, I usually stop taking them. Anyway, so that was October. Now, roll on Christmas Day. I was getting dressed and I could feel myself getting tired. And I knew I was going to have a chronic fatigue attack. So I quickly finished getting dressed because I wanted to get dressed and try and lie down before it hit. Unfortunately, I didn't do the lie down, but I got dressed. But that was it. Thank God I was dressed. I fell asleep before I could lie down. So I could feel myself pitching forward, pitching sideways, pitching to my right, pitching to my left, pitching forward again. And I kept on managing to pull myself back until one time I couldn't pull myself back, and bang, straight into the same set of drawers again. Except this time when I went down, I actually hit the tray that my computer's on. Lucky I didn't hit my computer and break it, but I broke the tray that it sits on. because that sits on my knees so I can use the computer. So I was lying there and I called my son because he's a body fireman. So he looked at me and shook his head. As he does, because he's used to me being clumsy. I don't think he realised how bad it was. So even I didn't realise how bad it was. So I got up. I had a bump on my head, which I didn't really have the first time. So I obviously had a fair whack because I had a bump and my head was actually very, very sore. I felt another fatigue attack coming on, so I actually went to sleep for a few hours, and I do mean hours because by the time I got up it was into the evening, so I had to start dinner. My head by that time was throbbing, my neck was sore, but this time it was sore down here, and my chest, oh my goodness, I felt like I'd broken ribs. It was sore all the way down the front, and it was right down underneath the ribs. It hurt to breathe, it hurt to eat. I was in agony, absolute agony. Down the sides, it was just horrendous. So I managed the best I could because, of course, here in New Zealand we have Christmas Day and then we have Boxing Day. Both of those are public holidays, but not only that, if any of those days fall on a weekend, the Monday is also given as a public holiday. So you had Christmas Day and Boxing Day, but the Monday was given as a public holiday. So we had Monday, everything was closed, so I couldn't go to the doctor, and then everything was closed right through to after New Year's. And the people I get rides with, they were all closed too after the first week of Christmas, New Year's. So I rang them about getting a ride into town because my son was only staying just about 3 days, so he couldn't help me. So I rang the people that do the rides, and they told me who to ring because I now have to pay for my rides. So I rang them and I got a number for that trip, so it didn't cost me anything. So I went to the doctor and I got some anti-inflammatories, and then the other week I was, gosh, I must have been sitting up again, I don't know. See, I can never remember what happens because I'm usually asleep. So because I'd been in so much pain with my back and my chest, I decided to take a full sleeping tablet rather than just a half like I normally do. And I don't know if the full sleeping tablet put me to sleep before I was ready, or once again what happened. I've no idea. But I can once again remember sort of going left and right and forward and left and right and forward, But this time, instead of going forward into my drawers, I fell to the right. And this just makes me laugh. How I ended up is funny, but doing it isn't. I ended up in that position with my head hitting the floor in that position, and my feet in that position. Now, as usual, I just went to bed. I can walk, I've got feeling, I go to bed, I always don't know if I'm dreaming it or not. So I went back to bed, went to sleep, woke up the next morning, can't move my head again, my chest is even worse again, blah, 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 blah. So I thought, shit. And I was sitting outside, and one of my neighbours came out, and I said to her, do you think I should call the AMBO, because I had another fall last night? And she looked at me and went, of course you call the bloody AMBO. So I decided to call the AMBO. So I went in to hospital, and I've did a few videos of me going in on the AMBO and me being wheeled into the hospital. So I might put bits and pieces of them up, because I'm attached. That was the other thing. When it's out here, because we're so far away from things, because my nearest town is 25 minutes drive. Depending on how busy they are, depends on where they come from. But we've got 3 towns near us. We've got Papakura, Pukekohe, and Waiuku. Now, those are all 25 minutes from us. If they have got no free units, they then have to come from Manukau, which is about another 10-15 minutes from us. So that's even longer. I had to be put on oxygen because my levels were getting close to 90% when they were testing me. Now, yes, I do smoke, but throughout my life, even though I've smoked, my oxygen levels have never been low. I've never had a problem with my oxygen levels. So I was actually quite nervous about the fact that my oxygen levels were getting sort of in the mid to low range. That was actually very, very scary for me. Anyway, so they put me on the oxygen here at home, and then they took me off it when the ambulance turned up, so that I could walk into the ambulance. And just walking from the ambulance, from here, where I was at 100%, into the ambulance and sitting down on the bed being strapped in, took me back down low again. So they put me back on the oxygen again. So that was really scary for me, and it took them a while back at the hospital to get me back up again. Once I got into the hospital, because of course they took me off at the ambulance, and no, they took me off when I was in the hospital. That's right. They kept me on when they wheeled me in, but they had to take their oxygen back when they did their thing. So I didn't get oxygen straight away, and my levels went down again. So I found that actually quite scary, because I've never had that happen. So that made me nervous. So yeah, that wasn't good. But they did a complete x-ray of my spine and my back. They also did my ribs. Everything was completely clear, which was great. So there was no breaks from any of the falls. They also did a CT of my neck, which was clear. So once again, I bent. I didn't break, but I redid my neck. I redid my back with the ligaments. I pulled ligaments down my front. I pulled muscles in my chest. I pulled muscles in between ribs. I pulled muscles in my back again, and I pulled muscles in my front. So, yes, I can move my neck, but oh my lord, it hurts so much. So I've got a month's worth of anti-inflammatories, but I've also got a tablet to take before I eat, which helps line my stomach and settles my stomach down, because of what happens if I take anti-inflammatories for any length of time, because my doctor knows that I suffer with it. But what's happened, and this is the most scary for me, is I've got double vision, and it's really bad. Like, I can't read anything, because it's everything is double. Like, if I read something like this, okay, this label here, there's actually two of that, and if I hold it even that far, that's all double. So, just travelling is terrifying, because I can see two of the lines. So like, just line on your passenger's side, because of course we drive on the left hand side of the road. So our line, the passenger's line, is here. So the passenger's line is here, and then we've got our centre line here. So the passenger line is here, but it's also here. And then you've got the middle line, which is here, but it's also over here where you've got the other side line. But then you go onto the motorway and you've got multiple lanes, so you've got lines everywhere. And it's absolutely bloody terrifying. Then if you've got cars up the road, you've got multiple cars, even though you've only got, say, maybe two cars. I've got like 4 or 5 or 6 cars, plus I've got all these lanes, and it's just absolutely terrifying travelling at the moment, because I don't know which is real, and it's really scary. It's funny, but it's absolutely terrifying for me, because I don't know what is real, and I'm not a bad traveller, but for me it's just so scary to travel that way. Walking along and doing things is difficult, because I'll go to pick something up, but I'm actually picking up the other side. So I'm having to learn that the real thing is actually on the left. The other thing is on the right. So everything I go for is actually on the left. So I have to grab for the left, and do it that way. But yeah, so if you hear me talk about my double vision, this is what it is, and it's because of me falling and hitting my head. Now, if I was staying in Auckland, I'd be going to a concussion clinic, But because I'm not staying in Auckland, I'm not doing that. But my doctor's going to highly recommend it for when I move down to Kapiti. I'm going to pre-organise a doctor. I'm going to do that next week. So I'm going to get a form sent up to me so I can get it filled out and get that started in advance. So then I've got no worries about anything like that, because I really do need to make sure that's organised before I go down. So that's a big thing that needs to be done before I go. So that's just something I have to deal with when I get down there. So so they wanted me to go to the concussion clinic. I couldn't up here. But my doctor wants me to go to a concussion clinic down there. So he's putting that in the notes to go to the concussion. God, I'm having trouble with I'm having trouble with my words. That's part of the concussion and also my fibro, because having problems with words is part of my fibro, but it's made worse with the concussion, because it's making it harder for me to speak. So the doctor wants me to go to the concussion clinic, so they can try and help me with my eyes and everything like that, because it's really, really hard. I'm getting lots of headaches and stuff like that because of the oh lordy, Miss Claudie, because of the concussion. Why is that such a hard word? So if you hear me talk about double vision, that's what it is. So it's the 3 knocks I've had since September. I can laugh about it because it's really, really stupid, but it's not a good thing to do, and I really hope I don't have any more falls. And you can see why it's classed as a fall, but as technically it's a fall, but it's not really a fall because I was sitting down each time. And this is sort of why I'm staying at my friend's place for a while, because I really do need to be around people for a while at least, to see if I have any more, because that's the other thing, is they would need to find out why this is happening, whether it's something that's going to keep on happening or not. So we need to discover these things. So I'm hoping that it's not something that's a new flare up for me with my fibro, because I really don't want to keep on having falls like this. It is scary, I will admit. It's not something I want to keep on doing. It hurts, as you can imagine, but more than anything, it is bloody scary. I don't like it. I don't want to keep on doing it, and if I keep on falling, I'm not going to be able to live by myself anymore, because I've got to have somebody around me, and that's not really something I want to do. But I can't live by myself if I keep on falling, in case something serious happens, because the next time I could break a bone. It could be in my neck or something, because as it is, when I turn my neck, I can hear my neck grinding. So, it is starting to get unstable, and the next time it could be my neck. And, as much as I joke about it, it is scary for me. and there's not a lot they can do for me to strengthen up my neck, because as much as the exercises they give me, because of the fibro, there's not a lot that they can do. I mean, to say, I know the exercises, I do the exercises, but I can't turn my neck enough for them to fully do them. I'm very limited in my movements. I mean, say, that's my side to side movement, and that's my turn movement, and that's it. So there's not a lot I can do to strengthen my neck up. So yeah, but anyway, I will yeah, so as I said, I joke about it, but it is scary for me. There's not much that actually scares me. I usually laugh through everything. I laugh about my falls generally, but not these ones because of my neck and my back. But most falls I'll laugh through. So if I do another video about a fall, you'll find me laughing, because most of my falls are hilarious. I do stupid falls. It's usually really funny, especially if I'm doing videos and stuff at the time. Anyway, I'm going to go. You all keep safe. I shall catch you on the rebound. Keep safe, and see you all later. Bye.